What are DNA mutations? A DNA mutation is a change in your body and your DNA, the genetic code that tells your body how to grow, develop, and function. Your DNA is made up of 4 letters A, T, C, and G. A mutation can happen when one of those letters change, gets added, gets deleted, or gets moved.
Our DNA is like a blueprint for life, containing the instructions that make us who we are. But sometimes changes called genetic mutations occur, altering that blueprint. Mutations can happen naturally as our cells divide, or they can be triggered by external factors like radiation, chemicals, or even certain viruses. There are different types of mutations. Point mutations, where a single building block of DNA is swapped. Insertions and deletions, where DNA segments are added or lost. And frame shift mutations, which disrupt the entire sequence, often with significant effects. On a larger scale, there are chromosomal mutations that affect whole sections of our DNA. Mutations can have a wide range of effects. Many are neutral, causing no noticeable changes. A few are beneficial, leading to traits like disease resistance, but others can be harmful, causing genetic disorders like sickle cell anemia or cystic fibrosis. Mutations are also the driving force of evolution. They create the genetic diversity that allows species to adapt and survive in changing environments. Today, researchers are studying genetic mutations to unlock the mysteries of hereditary diseases and even develop life-saving treatments. While they can be unpredictable, genetic mutations are at the heart of life's incredible complexity and its resilience.
Living everyday life with mutations. Even though we don't think about it, mutations are happening inside of us every single day. Most are harmless, many are helpful, and a few can cause problems. Here's how they show up in our life every single day. Everyday life examples of mutation: cancer, sickle cell, cystic fibrosis. We live with mutations and genetic changes every single day in ways we don't even realize.
Even me?
Yes, even you too. Cancer. Cancer is caused by a damaged DNA that changes how cells grow, divide, and repair themselves. These DNA changes, mutations, can grow from many sources, including genetic, environment, and a random cell mistake.
Have you ever wondered how cancer starts in the human body? Cancer can begin when normal cells undergo genetic mutations. These mutations can cause the cells to grow and divide uncontrollably. As the mutated cells multiply, they can form a mass called a tumor. Tumors can be either benign or malignant. Benign tumors are non-cancerous and do not invade other tissues. Malignant tumors, on the other hand, can spread to surrounding tissues and organs. This process is known as metastasis. The exact cause of these genetic mutations is often not known. However, certain risk factors can increase the likelihood of developing cancer.
What is sickle cell?
A genetic blood disorder caused by a mutation in the HBB gene. This leads to a production of abnormal hemoglobin, which is HbS.
Sickle cell anemia is an inherited disorder that affects the red blood cells. Because it is inherited, it means that it can be passed from parent to child. So what is it? Red blood cells contain a red protein called hemoglobin, which carries oxygen around the body. Normally, red blood cells are round and flexible, which means they can bend to move easily through the narrow blood vessels. People with sickle cell anemia have a change or mutation in the hemoglobin gene. This faulty version of the gene causes the hemoglobin to form strands in the red blood cells, which makes them inflexible and gives them a crescent or a sickle shape. This is where the name of the disorder comes from. A sickle is a tool used to cut long grass. These unusually shaped red blood vessels can cause blockages in sections of the blood vessels. Red blood cells cannot pass through the blockages to reach the cells in tissues and organs, so the cells cannot get oxygen and glucose for respiration. When this happens, it causes pain called a sickle cell crisis. The symptoms of a crisis can be severe and last from a few minutes to several weeks. It can cause complications, which can be life-threatening. For example, if a blockage occurs in the blood vessels in the brain, Then brain cells can die, which causes a stroke. So, how is sickle cell anemia inherited? Well, to have the disorder, you have to have 2 copies of the faulty allele, which is a recessive allele. People who have 1 copy of the recessive allele are carriers. The red blood cells of carriers have 50% abnormal hemoglobin and are slightly more fragile than normal. If these 2 sickle cell carrier parents have offspring, they can have children with the disorder, children who are also carriers, or children who are completely unaffected, which we can show in a Punnett square. There are about 4.4 million people in the world who have sickle cell anemia, while an additional 43 million are carriers. About 80% of people with sickle cell anemia live in Central Africa. It also occurs relatively frequently in parts of India, the Middle East, and among people of African origin living in other parts of the world. These regions are also most affected by the disease malaria. This is not a coincidence. Having the sickle cell allele actually protects you against malaria. This means you are more likely to survive childhood and pass on the sickle cell allele to your children. This also means that the numbers suffering from sickle cell anemia are also higher in malaria regions, because if 2 carriers have children, they have an increased risk of having children with the disorder. But how does carrying the sickle cell allele help protect against malaria? The malarial parasite is transmitted by female mosquitoes, which spend part of its life cycle inside red blood cells. When these parasites enter the fragile red blood cells of carriers, the cells often burst before the parasite has time to develop. This means the parasite dies, and the life cycle is broken. So, in this video, you have learnt what sickle cell anemia is, how it is inherited, and why it is more common in some areas of the world than others.
What is cystic fibrosis? A genetic disorder that affects the lungs and the digestive system, caused by a mutation in the CFTR gene.
A patient with cystic fibrosis is susceptible to infections of the lungs. This is due to a mutation that affects a protein on the surface of lung cells. Many different mutations can cause cystic fibrosis, but all of them involve a transmembrane protein called CFTR that functions as a channel for chloride to move in and out of cells. In this case, CFTR is less able to transfer chloride ions out of the cell compared to the functioning protein in people without cystic fibrosis. The channel is, in effect, locked shut. This inability to transfer chloride ions has an effect on the outside of the cell. In people without cystic fibrosis, there is a balance of chloride ions inside and outside lung cells, which maintains the right amount of water and salt ions in the mucus lining the airways. Cilia normally sweep the watery mucus from the lung lining, keeping the surface clean. In patients with cystic fibrosis, chloride ions concentrate inside cells and draw in water by osmosis. With less water, the mucus becomes thicker and cilia can't move. Flow is reduced, providing an environment for bacterial infection. But there are now drugs that can help patients. To find a drug, researchers tested over 200,000 small molecules to see if any would bind to the CFTR protein. Then, for each small molecule that had some binding ability, researchers chemically synthesized different variations of that molecule and tested them for the ability to improve the function of some types of mutant CFTR channels. They identified a drug that, when taken by patients with a certain type of CFTR mutation, binds to the CFTR protein, opening the channel and allowing improved ion transfer. This increases chloride ion flow and maintains a watery, clear mucus, which helps the cilia move more freely and reduces the risk of bacterial infection.
are small changes in our DNA, but they have powerful effects. They happen naturally every day as our cells copy their genetic material. Most mutations are harmless and quietly repaired, some create variation that helps us adapt and evolve, and a few can lead to health conditions like cancer, sickle cell disease, or cystic fibrosis. Even though mutations sound scary, they're actually a normal and essential part of life. They are the reason every person unique, and they're the engine behind evolution and medical progress. Understanding mutations helps us recognize how diseases to protect us.